What's up, guys? So today's topic is going to be on bone density, and we're going to get into how to avoid osteopenia, osteoporosis as we get older, and we're going to give you a little bit of knowledge that you can take with you about what kind of foods you should be eating to absorb the most calcium and how much calcium we should be getting in a day. So just kind of to start this off, I have some notes that I'll be referencing just because I can't keep all that in my noggin. I definitely have to have notes when I do this, and it's super helpful for me because it's a lot of info. So if you ever have any questions about this information, feel free to DM me underneath this, or comment on this video, or just DM me on Instagram or email me with a question. I love to jump in any questions anybody has, just because I know I'm not going to cover everything here. So to start off with, let's just talk about calcium to begin with, just because it is 99% of our body's calcium is stored in our bones. All right. And the remaining 1% is found in our blood, muscle, and other tissues. So what does that mean? It means our bones need calcium in order to stay strong. And so that sounds like very, okay, I get it. So we need calcium to keep our bones strong. That makes sense. Now, how much calcium do we need throughout the day, each day, in order to do that? Because once we hit our max bone density for our bodies around 25 to 30 years old, and then from then on, it gradually goes down as we get older, just because our body starts to just deteriorate, and it's a sad thing, but that's life. So there are ways that you can keep your bone density higher, and so we're going to get into those a little later. But just for recommended daily intakes, it's 1,000 milligrams per day for the average adult, and then it is 1,200 milligrams per day if for women over 50 and any adults over 70. And then for children from age 4 to 18, they recommend 1,300 milligrams per day. So if you kind of think about why they increase, why there's 1,300 milligrams per day for children as opposed to 1,000 milligrams for adults, it's because children's bones are growing and getting stronger from ages 4 to 18, like I said, and then, they could probably extend that even to your late 20s, but that's when you're accumulating the most bone growth. So what foods are high in calcium? I'm just going to go down the list here really quick and just give you a few different foods that are high in calcium. So you can add those to your diet, and you can start to basically get the benefits of eating foods that have high or have calcium in it at the end of the day. So seeds. 1 tablespoon of poppy seeds has 126 milligrams of calcium in it. 1 tablespoon of sesame seeds has 100 milligrams. So that's about 10% of your daily recommended daily intake for both of those. This is kind of cool. I've actually started eating more Parmesan cheese in the past couple months just because I knew about this one. Parmesan cheese actually has 331 milligrams per ounce. And so that's 33% of our recommended dietary intake, or daily intake, however you want to say it. So 33%, that's a significant amount. So think about if you eat 2 ounces, you're up to 66% for the day. So Parmesan cheese, you don't want to go crazy with the amount of, recommended foods, but like if you eat 1 ounce or 2 a day, then you're probably getting around almost 50% if you're eating almost 2 ounces a day. Yogurt, it says 1 plain cup of yogurt is 30% of our recommended daily intake, which is nice. And so if you eat Parmesan cheese, 1 ounce, and a cup of yogurt, then you're getting over 60% of your recommended daily intake of calcium, which is kind of cool. Now, one thing you have to kind of be aware of with the yogurt is this is talking about plain yogurt. And I know that a lot of people like to put fruit or honey or granola in their yogurt. I'm not saying don't do that, but just be aware yogurt can kind of turn into a more like a dessert if you add, everything under the sun into your yogurt. So just be aware of all the sugar that can go into yogurt if it's not plain. All right. The next one is sardines. Sardines, 3.75 ounce can of sardines has 35% of your rate of your recommended daily intake. So if we go back, we go sardines, yogurt, and cheese. I know that's like three of everyone's favorite foods. Maybe just not the sardines, but the yogurt and the cheese. You're up to 98% of your recommended daily intake if you're an adult. So that's kind of cool. I feel like in obviously it's not something you're going to be eating every day, but it's good to know whenever you do get those three things in, you're getting your calcium fix, which is kind of cool. I feel like whenever I think about trying to get my good daily amount of micronutrients in for the day, I'm like, okay, if I'm eating cheese or Parmesan cheese, I know I'm getting at least 33% of my calcium. And then I'll actually mix sardines in there every now and then just to be like, all right, I'm getting an abundant amount of calcium in that way as well. Going on to the next one, our 3 ounces of canned salmon has 21% of our recommended daily intake, which is still pretty good. Almonds, 22 almonds have 8% of our recommended daily intake. And if they're roasted, your body's probably going to absorb it a little better. So if you can get roasted almonds, that's good. 1 scoop of whey protein has 200 milligrams of calcium in it, which is 20% of a recommended daily intake. So that's something else that if you like taking protein after a workout or as a meal replacement in the morning, that's something that you can know that it has a good amount of calcium. And now you want to read all the labels and stuff when you're taking a whey protein to make sure it has an abundant amount. But 20% plus the 30%, 33% of the cheese, then we're at 50%. So then our last one that I have up here is milk. 1 cup of cow's milk is 300 milligrams. So we're looking at 30% of your recommended daily intake if you're an adult. So I will email these out to all the Fly Bodies Fleet members and show you that it shows you kind of a breakdown of what kind of foods are really, really high in calcium. And dark leafy greens also have an abundant amount of calcium. I know, what was it? I forgot to put it on here, but I apologize. But it's spinach. Spinach has I'm thinking of magnesium now. Sorry, I didn't want to forget one. I apologize, but I'm going to go down to magnesium here in a second. And spinach is one of the foods that is very high in magnesium. One of the foods, yeah. Sorry. So, I'll email this out to show you which foods are high in calcium because it's definitely something we need. Because if we're not getting enough calcium in our diet, then our bodies are going to pull the calcium from our bones to help facilitate certain functions that we need to do throughout the body. So that's why our bone density goes down over time if you're not getting an adequate amount of calcium, because our bodies will actually pull those nutrients from our bones. So we don't want that to happen very often. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect every time, but if we can get enough calcium through food, that's awesome, all right? Now, there is some controversy on calcium supplements. Some research has shown that calcium supplements aren't digested as well as regular food. So I'd be weary of taking calcium supplements because from some of the research that I saw that we don't break down calcium supplements very well unless it's in food. So just be aware of that. So women tend to lose 3 to 5% of bone density during pregnancy and breastfeeding, which is pretty wild for me because I know my mom had 4 kids and I know a lot of women on the Fly Body Fleet have had kids, multiple kids, and it's something that 3 to 5% of your bone density is a lot. And so knowing that, now it's time to really up our calcium intake to basically keep the bone that we do have, because we gave a lot of it to our kids, or not me, but I know you guys, willingly gave it to your kids. So that's something that you need to be aware of. Having more kids is going to basically bring your bone density a little down, which is not something that is, super beneficial for the mother, but it's also something you need to be aware of. So calcium intake is huge for mothers. One of the best ways to promote bone growth and they're called osteoblasts, is from weight bearing activities. So we're moving into weight bearing activities because people need to understand it's not just eating enough calcium, it's also strengthening our bones so that they can grow and they can get stronger. So a few weight bearing activities that are really, really good for your bones are hiking, walking, running, and lifting weights. And if you think about bone, and this is kind of a good way to think about it, it's still, tissue that it's a lot of it is made up of, a lot of blood, and then a lot of other things related to human tissue. But if you think about this, whenever we lift weights or even walk, our bones are actually bending just a little bit. All right. And I know that's kind of a weird way to think about it, but think about your leg bone. This is your leg bone. All right. And when you are walking, it's strenuous on the bone, and it's creating what's called an osteoblast, which means when it bends a little bit, it's actually getting stronger. So when you lift weights, you're actually making your bones stronger as well, because it has to take on the load that you're bearing. And so lifting weights is really, really good for lower body strength and lower body bone density, because obviously we want to be able to walk, later into our later years. So think about that. Whenever you're doing weight bearing activities or just standing, you're creating more bone density or keeping the bone density in your lower body. So let's talk about vitamin D just for a second. Vitamin D helps our body absorb calcium. So vitamin D is very important. Now, you can take vitamin D in pill form, or you can go outside for 15 to 20 minutes in like summertime months and get an adequate amount of vitamin D from the sun. So sunlight exposure is very important for absorbing vitamin D, and then also allowing your body to absorb calcium. So you need one with the other in order for our bodies to get stronger bones. And I keep wiping my head because it's a little hot. I don't have air conditioning. So now we're going to move on to magnesium, because magnesium, 60% of our magnesium is also stored in our bones. Okay, so our bodies are going to pull that magnesium from our bones if we're not getting enough magnesium. So you need the magnesium as well as the calcium in our bones to keep strong bones. And I'll run down this list really quick. For magnesium, we only need 400 milligrams a day. And the best sources of magnesium are dark chocolate, which 1 ounce has 16% of our recommended daily intake. 1 cup of cooked spinach has 39% of our recommended daily intake of magnesium. A 1 medium avocado has 15% of recommended daily intake of magnesium. 1 ounce of cashews has 20%. 1 ounce of Brazil nuts, which is 6 kernels, has 25% as well, which is pretty incredible because it also has selenium, which is really good for you. 1 ounce of pumpkin seeds has 37%. I think a lot of you see me eating pumpkin seeds quite a bit. So that's why I do it. From the magnesium standpoint, is I eat roasted pumpkin seeds a lot because it has has a large amount of magnesium in it. So that's how I get my magnesium. Most of the time I eat, dark leafy greens and some dark chocolate as well. 1 cup of black beans has 30% magnesium of your recommended daily intake. 1 cup of quinoa, which I thought this was really cool, has 30% of your recommended daily intake of magnesium. 6 ounces of salmon have 10%, and then 6 ounces, and that's about it. 6 ounces of salmon has 10%. So I'm also going to send that information out. It's going to be in the email. But yeah, that's, kind of the down and dirty of why our bodies need calcium. It's mainly for our bones. And just think about it. Our bones are losing bone density as we get older. It's just something that's a natural part of life. In order for us to have stronger bones as we get later into our years and try not to have osteopenia and osteoporosis, we need to be aware of the calcium intake we have, and also weight-bearing activities, because those are the two things that are really going to help keep strong bones as we get older. So I'm going to send out the email that has all this information in it. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions whatsoever, I would love to hear them, just because that helps me get more info out to our Flybody Fleet members. And I hope this was helpful. I tried to not make it too long. We're on the 15-minute mark. But like I said, please reach out if you have any questions. And I hope this was helpful. Thanks, guys.